guys, JJ here, and the Resident Evil 9 Requiem preview embargo has officially lifted, and a ton of outlets were given access to roughly 3 hours of gameplay set inside the Road Hill Chronic Care Center. Today we're going to be covering the gameplay, new details, the evolved zombies, bosses, and much more. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Resident Evil 9 Requiem is right around the corner with a month until release, and a ton of media outlets and creators got access to a 3-hour demo, and today we're going to be recapping those hands-on impressions, details you need to know, and much more. But before we get into it, if you enjoy this video, please hit that like button, and for all the latest Resident Evil 9 Requiem news, make sure to subscribe. Alright, let's get started. The 3-hour demo took place entirely inside Road Hill Chronic Care Center, and it's split between 2 Leon sections and 1 Grace section. Grace's section is significantly longer, roughly 2 hours as Grace and about 1 hour as Leon. Timeline-wise, when switching perspectives, the game shows a timeline indicator confirming that Road Hill events take place on the night of October 8th, 2026. Now let's go over the game structure. It is now confirmed again that Resident Evil 9 is not an open-world game. It is built in a linear structure with backtracking, very much like classic Resident Evil games. Famitsu also notes that the demo they played was edited from the retail version, with some flow changes and cut content specifically to preserve surprises for launch. Now we'll move into the save rooms and atmosphere. The save room theme is described as being very Resident Evil 7-esque, setting the tone right away. Here, let's take a listen. Previewers consistently praise Road Hill's level design, with multiple calling it some of the best in the franchise, comparable to the RPD's layout and openness, less rigid than the Dimitrescu castle from Resident Evil 8. There's a strong emphasis on unlocking shortcuts, returning later with new tools, and layered exploration. I'll admit, this is really reassuring to hear. Now we'll move into the enemies, zombies, and AI systems. This is where Resident Evil 9 really starts doing some interesting stuff. We'll start with the unique zombie personalities. Capcom confirms they created around 100 unique zombie personalities, each with different behaviors, quirks, and reactions. Examples include a singer zombie who hums constantly and emits a loud screech if disturbed, stunning Grace and forcing her to cover her ears. Next up, we have a chef zombie that patrols food prep stations, mutters next as he moves, and becomes extremely aggressive if irritated. There are zombies that get irritated when the lights are shut off and they'll try to turn them back on. There's also zombies that will fight each other, like one that hates loud noises attacking the singing zombie. Some playtesters explained it as comical at times. Originally, there were even more personalities, but Capcom scaled it back because it became too chaotic and unreadable for gameplay. I could see this being a very interesting game mechanic and leading to some very funny clips. Zombie AI reacts dynamically to sound, light, other enemies, environmental physics. Capcom specifically balances to maintain creepiness without tipping into comedy. We'll see how that goes. Moving into these systems and how comical they can get, previewers mention laugh-out-loud moments and absurd scenarios they can't spoil. One example that is allowed, a zombie holding a chainsaw can fall over, the chainsaw stays revved, it drags the zombie corpse across the floor like a snake. It damages you and other zombies, sometimes cutting off their legs before powering down. Dark comedy is very intentional here, but always grounded in horror. Now we'll move into mini-bosses and special enemies. There are confirmed mini-boss style zombies with unique identities. 2 encountered with Grace include the singer zombie and the chef zombie, who is difficult to kill, highly irritable, and can dynamically appear during large enemy encounters. Enemies also have physics-based interaction, meaning mobs can disrupt each other in different ways. Next, we'll move into the new Crimson Head Evolution zombie. This is huge. Capcom confirms a Crimson Head style enemy officially called Blister Heads. No screenshots or B-roll yet. Zombies will reanimate as Blister Heads if not killed properly. One previewer describes them as bubbling flesh with bulging heads like rejects from The Fly. To prevent this, Grace uses kerosene, which doubles as her stealth takedown tool. Zombies must be dealt with deliberately, and Leon does not collect blood or kerosene resources, so this will affect Leon's story if Grace doesn't take care of them. Alright, now let's get into the character dynamic between Grace and Leon. This is one of Resident Evil 9's most interesting systems. If Grace doesn't kill enemies, Leon can encounter them later. If Grace does kill them, Leon won't. The same applies to dropped items and environmental changes. This allows Capcom to lean hard into resource conservation and survival horror for Grace, while Leon can later clear house. Director Koshi Nakanishi specifically mentions this will make replays and speedruns radically different, with route planning unlike any past Resident Evil game. To me, it sounds like an A and B scenario, but in one scenario. Alright, now we'll move into the combat and mechanics. We'll start with Leon. Leon's tomahawk axe does not break. When it's dull, it becomes ineffective. Sharpening is unlimited, but it leaves you vulnerable. On higher difficulties, managing sharpness is critical. Leon can crouch to avoid certain attacks, similar to Resident Evil 4. Enemies can pick up dropped weapons. Some enemies throw chainsaws at you. Leon has a visible currency in his inventory, and Leon is confirmed to be infected. Alright, now we'll move into Grace. Grace uses the hemolytic injector to collect blood. Blood, scrap, keys, and items all take up inventory space. Grace can shove enemies to create space, but her melee doesn't deal damage. Grace can use defensive items like knives. Stealth is puzzle-like, with enemies often reenacting past lives. She can acquire a B934 handgun in the dining room, and Leon gives her his Requiem. Grace is the only character who can pick up antique coins. Now we'll move into antique coins and upgrades. Using antique coins, Grace can purchase side pack, more inventory slots, stabilizer, better gun handling and damage, steroids, increased max health, and override manual, increased blood capacity. This is very much like Resident Evil 7's upgrading system. Some upgrades can also be crafted, though they require investment. Crafting overall is a much larger system this time. Dismantling items, converting scrap into ammo, heavy inventory management. Now let's get into the actual bosses. The large baby enemy seen in the footage is officially named Chunk, considered a major enemy by design. Flesh squeezing through doorways was a core visual concept. Leon's first encounter with Chunk plays like a boss battle. Multiple versions of this enemy type may exist. We're gonna get a bunch of chunks! Now we'll get into Victor Gideon and story details. Victor Gideon uses night vision goggles, exhibits strong Buffalo Bill vibes, has a forked snake tongue, wears a snake ring on his thumb, tells Leon they both suffer from the umbrella curse. After Victor locks the care center down, Leon hands the Requiem to Grace. Capcom is extremely strict about the identity of Leon's comms contact, a returning Resident Evil character appearing in the demo, a hinted FBI analyst-style mechanic tied to Grace's puzzle. I wonder who that new Resident Evil character could be. Now we'll move into Leon's characterization. Leon is around 50 years old. He's been fighting bioterror for nearly 30 years, and it's taking a toll. Nakanishi says, Leon feels emptiness, a sense of pointlessness, fatigue, and endless tragedy, no sign that the world is improving. Remember, the cop inside him died that day. Leon is meant to feel brutal, cold, almost monstrous at times, covered in blood and slightly off. Even his music reflects this, shifting from controlled industrial rhythms to chaotic discord as he's pushed to his limits. Returning to Raccoon City is described as an emotional moment for Leon and was a core vision early in development. Now let's recap. Resident Evil 9 is not Resident Evil 6. It plays like an evolved Resident Evil 4 remake, emphasizes horror in Grace's sections like Resident Evil 7 or the Resident Evil 2 remake, and balances action and relief in Leon's. Introduces new systems continuously until the end. Japan is only getting a Z-rated version as Capcom refused to censor the game to preserve its grotesque vision. Overall impressions from previewers are extremely positive, with some saying that if this quality holds, could be one of the best entries in the Resident Evil series. I'm very much looking forward to Requiem and will be playing it on release. This footage got me very excited, and now I'm curious to know your thoughts. Are you excited for Resident Evil 9 Requiem? What did you think of the gameplay details? What was something that stood out to you? Let me know down below in the comments and let's have a discussion about it. Real quick, I want to let you know that if you plan on picking up Requiem for PC, Green Man Gaming currently has a sale. You can get 18% off the standard game or 18% off the deluxe edition. So if you're gonna pick it up, you might as well save some money. Green Man Gaming is really easy. You get access to a key that you can then redeem on Steam. Use our link down below in the description or in the pinned comment. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, and for all the latest Resident Evil 9 Requiem news, make sure to subscribe. The Residents of Evil is a Patreon supported channel and also supported by our YouTube members. So if you'd like to become a member and unlock access to custom badges, emojis, and exclusive live streams, click that join button down below. You can join our survival horror community on Discord, link will be in the description, and I have the Duke here to tell you a little about our sponsor, G Fuel.
Do you have need of anything for the road ahead? The Residents of Evil has expanded its services. Perhaps you're in need of a little pick-me-up. I recommend the G Fuel. You can even get a fair discount if you use the code ROE upon purchase. And as always, we thank you for your patronage, stranger.
As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope to see you back at the Residence of Evil.